Our version of the lesson study was a lot less formal, and our teams used the lesson study to think about rich tasks, because that's what we did in the second year. The first year we thought we were researching a bunch of other stuff and finding out how to use it, and then everything morphed. So year 2 was a lesson study, and it was focused around rich tasks, and then of course we had been looking at manipulatives the first year, so we put that in and talked about that, as well as when you're using rich tasks, there's like so much assessment that can be happening, so of course that got folded into it. And then we also talked about the mathematical processes. So there's so much you can absorb and observe when we're doing rich tasks in these lessons, then we wanted to come up with ways to actually do it. Instead of going, okay, I can collect all information on mathematical processes and collect information on every kid as they learn and ask meaningful questions, but then how do I actually do that for like the 30 kids in my class? So that's what we were sort of focused around, as well as making our rich tasks more effective for because if we weren't borrowing them from somebody else, we weren't sure that we were asking questions the right way to make them rich and that sort of stuff. So our version was pretty different from theirs because we were very flexible and they were pretty strict about like not talking to kids and coming in with a plan. Whereas for us, and instead of coming up with a learning outcome that the teacher would bring in, we would come to the lesson study group and say, here's a task we found. So what do you want to do? So we would anticipate, right? So we would do whatever the task was in a bunch of different ways, talk about the different solutions, and then say, okay, so if we're going into somebody's classroom, what outcomes might we be looking for? So if you're in my Rich Task workshop yesterday, then we came up with like at least 5 different, at least 5 different learning outcomes we could have been working towards with that one particular task. So same sort of thing. Then we would determine whose class we were going to go into, and then we would go and they would lead kids through rich tasks, and we would observe. We have iPads, it's a one classroom, and all the teachers have them too, so we would record their thinking, take pictures, ask questions like we were writing. And the kids were really happy about telling us what they knew, and they actually, the kids liked that they had the chance to voice it. And I think that also made it easier later for them to, when we said, please record your thinking on your iPad, they already knew we were valuing it, so they were ready to record it on their iPad as well.
Our lesson studies really reflected the 5 practices. So we started off our whole second year with going through those 5 practices, and then from there anticipating. So like they were co-creating, we were just going through the lesson together. We brought a lesson that was kind of ready, and we anticipated. That was more the prelude to it than the observation, and then we debriefed after. So it was a little different in that you guys actively co-created a lot more, whereas we didn't do that. We took some work, either was Marion Smalls, the border problem, which was already there. The only one that actually created a lesson that we did in our lesson study was Amy. She created one of the 4 tasks that we did. We also used the same task in multiple classes, so multiple levels. So ours was morphed into a 7 to 9, and actually went into one of the grade 11 classes as well, as opposed to the same grade across curricular. We were all math, so it was a little different.